from Mediaite. You're not the Pope, bro. Alex Jones goes off over Trump throwing his Epstein disgruntled fans out of MAGA. And I think Alex Jones was basically saying, like, he will never defend or protect globalist pedos and traffickers just because it's Trump or just because of the victories we may be getting. Here's a quote. He says, well, you're not the Pope, bro. I mean, you're not speaking from the throne. How do you pronounce that? Cathedra? Cathedra. And plus, I'm not Catholic. The thing with Catholics is just give me a break. Anybody who disagrees with anything I say is banished. And I'm not saying Trump-led is a cult. The Democrats are the cult of hating reason and logic and common sense. But when Trump starts behaving like that, it starts getting into cult territory. And I bet since I talked the first hour and said I'm not in his cult, that's what it's turning into. I bet there's already news articles about it. Okay, you're not wrong, Alex. But then we have this. Interestingly, this is from a couple days ago. We brought it up. Charlie Kirk said, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. Charlie went on to I think this is important context, too, because when we've talked about this should be mentioned. He says we should have the information. Trump should do it. But I understand, they're working and I trust them, so I'll let them cook. Well, here's the latest. Charlie Kirk pleads with Trump to deal with Epstein files truly because we care about you. Charlie was trying to say we're going to move on. You cannot. Trump has made this the prime principal headline news story in politics and culture. And now all of his base that were trying to calm things down are ripped right back into it from Kirk, Jones, or whoever else may be. And then Megyn Kelly was roasting the ultra loyalists who are just agreeing with Trump no matter what.
And Charlie, I thought he put it well. I mean, look, he's a good friend of mine. He, supporting my campaign, he's fantastic. And I thought he did a fantastic job today. I listened to it, of explaining why this matters so much and why it needs to be addressed. And it was interesting that having said he wasn't going to talk about it, he talked about it.
Yeah. Get away from it.
It's to your point that it's coming from below. It's a grassroots feeling.
To that point, so I listened to this show that has Mark Halperin and Sean Spicer on it, and every day they're talking about it, not because they are particularly interested, but every day there's news made about it. The same thing with the New York Times. They have a podcast in the morning, and every day there's been something on the Epstein list. And again, not because they're particularly interested in it, but because every day there's actually news on it. Trump continues to make news on it. The influencers that are in Trump's orbit continue to make news on it, and until I don't see this stopping until more information comes out, or until Trump actually addresses it in a way that will satisfy his base, because Trump can do that. He has that ability.
The news today, just now, about firing the prosecutor isn't. I don't think that's what people have been asking for.
Not
I mean, again, in a way, it raises more questions. I mean, it's very interesting. The Comey connection, all of that, super interesting. But why and what's the explanation? I don't think there was any explanation given. And so here we are again with an announcement that doesn't satisfy all the questions that people have.
I do love this headline from Daily Mail. Anti-trans activist Riley Gaines turns on Donald Trump over refusal to release Epstein files. The other title they have was Trump's golden girl, Riley Gaines, turns on him over Epstein files. Look, man, it's just, you can't come out like Trump did and basically bang a fist on the table for, let me put it this way. Trump went to a rally in 2021. He said, get the vax, and they booed him. And they said, all right, well, I ain't going to make you get it, but I think it's good. And they booed, and he moved on. Trump used to understand, as much as the media might say it's a cult, he knew he needed to rally this group of support to get their backing. Now, with this post, it's like he's banging on the table saying, don't you dare defy me. And it just doesn't work.
Yeah, but I think that it's because he feels that he's not getting credit for the scale of the results and achievements so far in his presidency.
I agree. He didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
If his post today was, like I said with Pfeiffer, I understand the frustration, the anger. Trust me. I am here for you, and we are working on this, and we are going to get you the truth. But look at these big, beautiful victories. Let's not derail over this one issue. Let's work together. Then people would have been like, yay.
Yeah.
It was like he posted the Superman meme, like right after all this stuff leaked. I'm like, bro, this is the least Superman thing you could possibly ever do.
My favorite was immediately after the backlash. It's like he gets asked, what's going on with Epstein? He goes, I'm going to take Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship away. And everyone's like, what? What are you talking about?
Like, that would be funny if it was literally anything but the Epstein files.
It would be funny if it was literally at any other time than when we're
That's what I'm
actually
saying. Like
perturbed.
that feels like a disconnect from the seriousness of what we're talking about. When you're sidestepping like that, when you're turning it into jokes and making memes, and then the rest of us who are kind of the ones who are on the receiving end of whatever policies you're enacting see the seriousness of it. They're like, you're not taking this seriously. And to be fair to the base and to him is like usually that personality for him works very well, and his kind of disconnected approach to politics is something people find charming in a lot of ways. This is not one of those times.
And also the other thing is that the brilliant thing about him, which is I think it's a big driver of why people love him, is he's so transparent about things usually, and you don't get the typical politician BS and circumnavigating the issue, and
he's incapable of not being transparent.
Like that's right, and he's very clear with his thinking, just as he has been on Ukraine and Russia and why he's changed, and on everything. It's what we're used to from him.
Well, then that's something that should make people ask questions. Why is it that you've behaved this way on literally every issue? If you have nothing to hide, why is your approach to this topic so drastically different than how you've approached literally everything else you've done in government?
Should I take the shoes down?
I suppose you can wait for further. It was like I was gonna wear my I was gonna wear my Bill Clinton shirt on the show one time. I was like, that's the day they'll drop the list and he'll be at the very top. I'll be like, crap.
It'll be like, not a good day for a joke.
I've got another. Actually, it just occurred to me because it's a really good question. Is I wonder whether it's something to do with the people involved who he's just very, very, fond of. Pam Bondi was, on his defense team for impeachment. Cash and Dan were absolutely kind of right there, massive champions for him all the way through, totally loyal. And I just wonder if he's like, these are really my people, and back off if there's an element of that.
Some of those photos, Pam Bondi looked like she's been having a rough time lately.
I would not want that job.
She's aged 10 years and
you can't
2
quit.
weeks. You can't.
You can't leave.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, no, because it would cause too much problems, so you have no choice. You stick around.
Oof.
Like the Bongino thing. They're not going to let him leave. He walks out or whatever. To be honest, it's hard to know what to believe. Because Dan does not come off as the kind of guy who's going to pull a PR stunt and pretend to leave or anything like that. Apparently, he talked to Trump, and then Trump convinced him to stick around. I think it would have been, I'm torn. It would have been epic if Dan came out with a public statement saying, I'm not going to be party, whatever this is. Guys, I'm done. At the same time, I don't want Trump to lose.
No,
Democrats are nuts.
Exactly. Now that the Democrats are like all over it in a totally cynical way, after having had no interest in any of this for years, I think it's incredibly important that we come out as a party and a movement on the right side of this.
It's an interesting thought on that, because it is one of those things where it's like their eyes are closed the whole time this is going on. But there have been elements of Trump's base and fans, or at least people who held their nose and voted for him, who have been adamant about the release of these files and the follow-up to this case for years. And it just proves which side is actually approaching their view on politics from a critical way rather than team sport mentality, which is what so much of it is these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know. There's not going to be anything that's going to fix this until Trump himself actually does it.
It's just a list with one name, and it's just Prince Andrew.
I don't know what it is, but I don't know what's actually going on. There's a lot of people that'll swear up and down that, I know this, and this is what it's got to be, and you have to see it this way, and et cetera. I don't have any inside information. Obviously, there was nefarious stuff going on, but until Trump addresses it, it's not going away.
Nope.
I think we're winning. I think, Trump has already tried walking it back. He's basically like, release whatever's credible. And now I think it was John Solomon is saying that Trump's going to appoint a special prosecutor.
That would be good.
To continue the case. And I do think there is a possibility the story is not nearly as grandiose as many people expect it to be. That all the blackmail stuff, we're all playing Sudoku, right? There's a bunch of pieces of information that were released, and everyone said, this is the story that fits the best. I guarantee you there's parts of this story that people have never even considered, and I'm sure some people may have exaggerated what may be happening. I'm sure it's really, really bad, because we do have evidence suggesting this.
And you got someone in jail.
Right, exactly.
For it.
Yeah.
And if Kevin Spacey is calling for transparency, that's,
Oh my God, did you guys see Stephen King?
Yeah.
When he was like, the Epstein list is real, just like the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. And then I can't remember who posted it, but they were like, you criticize literally every single thing Trump has done, and this is the one time you defend him?
if that's not suspicious. I don't know what is.
Well, have you read his books?
Yes.
A lot of people don't know this, but Stephen King writes an awful lot about children being raped and having sex. And like the book It, for instance, most people have only seen the movie. They don't know that for seemingly no reason, after their children defeat the evil clown, they are like, he literally, it's nuts. It's like, imagine the story's written like this. They defeated the clown and they cheered. Let's all go home and celebrate. What a dangerous day. Then they took off all their clothes. The young girl placed herself up against the wall, and then he just graphically details child rape.
That's the happy ending.
And it's
after
in the book.
they've defeated.
And everybody's like, why did you write that? And he's like, it's a metaphor for losing your childhood or something. And they were like, what? And then he was like, but kids died in the book. And they were like, yeah, because it's a horror. But like, and he's like, shouldn't that be worse? And it's like, bro, you wrote a chapter, like this whole graphic depiction. And then you add that, he's got other stories like this, mind you. And then Trump comes out, and the one time he defends Trump, he's like, yeah, there's no clients. What is anyone talking about?
Oddly enough, he doesn't realize that is the one crime that's considered unforgivable for all intents and purposes. Like, people get forgiven of murder all the time. Nobody's getting forgiven of what he's talking about.
I mean, they shouldn't be. Like, if you violate children, like, there's a meme on the internet that I'm not going to say, but like, there's a reason why people have such a strong emotional reaction to violating children.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.